Hello everyone, my name is Aafiah and this video is about how to prepare for Ghana and what to know before going to Ghana. Ghana is a very beautiful place, but there are certain things in Ghana that I'm not used to. So this video hopefully will give you an insight as to what to expect, what to bring with you, what to take, etc. There are just a few things I'd like to say before I start this video, and that is I'm going to be comparing Ghana to the UK because obviously the only other place I know in depth is the UK. I mean, I've been to other Western countries, but I live in the UK. Obviously, Ghana and the UK are two completely different countries and obviously will differ in very many different ways. But the reason why I am comparing is because I'm used to a certain way of life in the UK, and sometimes when you want to go on holiday, you do want to experience something different, but also you want your creature comforts and you want to be comfortable. So before going to Ghana, it is recommended that you get vaccines and also you take anti-malaria tablets. And it's better to take them 2 weeks prior to your flight. And also you should be taking your tablets during and after leaving Ghana. So I went to a local travel clinic in my pharmacy and they suggested I get some vaccines. It cost me a lot of money. So the typhoid vaccine was £35, the hepatitis A was £48, the tetanus was £31, and the yellow fever was £58. So in total that cost me £172 plus the £28 for the anti-malaria tablets, equaling a grand total of £200. Wow. However, your health is the most important thing you have, so you should ensure that you take precaution. There's one particular vaccine, which is the yellow fever vaccine, which I believe is mandatory to have prior to going to Ghana. And in fact, if you go there and you don't have this and you don't have your yellow fever passport, which is separate from your actual passport, they may decline entry into the country. Please, please, please do your research before you inject anything into your body. Don't take my word for it. This is what I was suggested to have, but please do your own research. There's many websites on this topic. The plane journey was okay. We took British Airways. It was alright, it wasn't the best, but we arrived in Ghana safe and sound. At the airport, it took ages for us to get our luggage, but we got there in the end. So my first thing that I wanted to do was to find internet because I knew that first world problem, but I need internet on my phone. So I went to a kiosk which is attached to the airport and they were selling SIM cards. However, I have an iPhone and I wasn't quite comfortable opening my iPhone and putting a different SIM card in. They said that my phone had to be unblocked in order to use the SIM card. So one suggestion I have is if you want to have your smartphone on one side, it's better to buy one of those cheap £10 phones and you can insert and take out any SIM card whenever you need to. So that's one tip. Little £10 phone, put a Ghana SIM card in and you're good to go. One thing that I didn't have in my duration of the trip was the ability to phone people easily. So I couldn't phone my mum, I couldn't phone my dad, I couldn't phone my aunties, I couldn't phone, my cousins because I didn't have this little £10 phone on the side. So when it came to now getting internet on my iPhone, I went to Accra Mall. I went to the shop called MTM. Now there are different network providers, internet providers in Ghana, but I heard MTM is the better service and it has more coverage and it's just more reliable. So I bought the MiFi for 199 new Ghana cedis, which at the time converted to about £33. And basically, this MiFi is a device that you carry around with you everywhere. You keep it in the bottom of your bag, and you literally it's like a device that is like a phone. It's like the size of a little £10 phone, but it's not a phone. You can't make calls on it. However, this device, you put a SIM card in and the internet goes to that SIM card and you're able to connect your phone. So I had this MiFi and it was amazing and it was great, but it only came with 2 gig data and I thought 2 gig data was sufficient, especially as there was a time in my life when I only paid £8 a month in the UK and I only got 2 gig data, but it was able to last me for the entire month because I had access to Wi-Fi at my place of work and I had access to Wi-Fi at home, so I didn't really need extra data. However, in Ghana, data runs like water. The 2 gig data lasted me 2 days. Yes, 2 days only, and I didn't do much surfing on the internet. So obviously I did quick maths and I realized that I needed about 15 gig for the whole 2 weeks I was there. So I went to the MTM shop again after my 2 gig data run out, and I was able to get a bundle of 15 gig data for 150 new Ghana cedis. So when I converted 150 new Ghana cedis, that was around £25. And I realized actually, wow, this is very expensive, because £25 for 2 weeks worth of data is, that's not a lot of, 15 gig is a lot of data, but for 2 weeks, you're paying £25. That's a lot. I don't know how feasible this would be if I was to stay there for a longer, lengthy period of time. I know that they have monthly bundles, but to be honest, I've forgotten how much it is for a monthly data package and how many gigs of data you'd be able to purchase with that. But I know that data in Ghana is very expensive, and that is something to consider when going to Ghana. There are other network providers like Tigo, Vodafone, and there's Glow and some other ones to look into, but I chose MTM, as I said, because I heard it is the better of all of them. So now you have a MiFi device and you're able to access the internet, but the MiFi has a battery life and you need to charge this device. For me, one charge lasted the whole day, which is really good. So this didn't mean if I was out and about, I had to quickly find a place to charge my MiFi. I needed to also charge my phone. I didn't take my laptop, but if I did, I would have had to have charged that as well. One problem I realised is with charging, it was okay, but I've realised that situation with electricity in Ghana at the minute isn't the best. I was told there was some time ago, a few years ago, where there was no light off, as they call it in Ghana. There was no dumso, which literally means light off or on off. But now, occasionally, you may get some power cuts. So obviously, this can affect your devices. With the MiFi, nothing happened to my MiFi device. That was fine. But with my phone, I felt like maybe my phone was affected by this when I returned back to England. Also, my wires weren't charging anymore once I returned back to the UK. I reckon what I should have done, and the solution to this, was to have bought a surge protector. I was thinking of buying a surge protector before going, but I thought, oh, it'd be alright, because the UK voltage and the Ghana voltage are the same, as opposed to maybe another country like the US where the voltage is different and you definitely need an adapter if you want to use your appliances and electronics in Ghana. One problem with the light off is that if your phone has run out of battery and you have a torch on your phone, like I do, like most people do, you're not going to be able to see in the middle of the night. In my parents' home or my mum's house, we don't have a generator because we're never there. We're in the UK. So if we were to be living there, I think it would be a good idea to invest in a generator. However, generators can be very noisy. Also, this is imperative. If you're going to Ghana, have a battery pack. Now, my phone is not a new phone. My iPhone is an old iPhone. So the battery life, and everybody knows battery lives on iPhones are not the best. So say you're out and about and you need your phone for Uber, and obviously your phone is using the internet, and when your phone uses the internet, the battery runs out a lot quicker than if it was to not be using the internet. You need that energy, you need that battery life in order to go about your day. So having a spare battery pack is essential, so you can navigate around the city the day without thinking or fearing that your battery is going to die on you and you're going to be stranded. So now you have your battery pack, your MiFi, your phones. Now you can navigate the city. Now you can go even on your ones. You can go by yourself and go from A to B. Because of the internet on your big phone or your smartphone, you can use the Uber app and you can go here, there, everywhere. And also, one thing about Uber app itself is that it's a map as well. So you're able to see where you are in the city of Accra. You're going to be able to see where landmarks are, where local shops are on the map. And so I was able to find places that I'd never heard of based on the Uber app. And that was very, very, very helpful. One problem with navigating Ghana, when you're on foot and not in a car or vehicle, is that I think the majority of locals don't know the names of the roads because they didn't grow up calling places by names of roads. So, for example, in the UK, if I want to go somewhere, someone will tell me the name of the road that the place is on. They will tell me the town. They will tell me the postcode. And the postcode is all you really need if you're in the UK. You just type in the postcode in your GPS, or your, say you're driving, you just type it in your navigation device, and then maybe you just need the door number and the postcode and you're good to go. In Ghana, it's not that straightforward. People know places based on what the place is next to, or where the place is around the corner from, or what junction the place is nearer to. So, for example, if you want to go to a restaurant and it's in a particular part of town and you ask a local, where is this place? They'll tell you, oh, it's next to the petrol station. Oh, it's next to the church. Oh, it's around the corner from the mosque. They will not tell you the name of the road. They will not tell you a postcode. But if you have the Uber app on your phone, you will be able to see roughly more accurately where something is, and I highly suggest that you download Uber if you do not have Uber. I mean, in the UK I hardly use Uber because I drive my own car, but it's only like maybe 4 times I've used Uber in the UK. But Uber in Ghana for me was essential, and I highly recommend Uber. So in Accra, we don't have transport for Accra like we have in London. What do I mean? In London we have Transport for London, which basically is a public government run organisation which looks after and organises the transport in London to get people from A to B. Obviously, we have buses, like the red buses that London is known for. We have trains, we have the tube, we have trams, we even have, if you want to travel via the River Thames, you can go on a boat. I don't know, I've never done that before, but you can. But in Ghana, everything is in the hands of the local people. So there's no organized, bus stops where you stand and then, well, actually there are bus stops if you like, but the locals know where to stand if you want a trotro. However, there's no signage to say stand here for a bus or a trotro. If you've never been to Ghana before, I highly suggest that you go on a trotro for the experience, because that is, one thing that is different. And I think if you're going to a different country, it's always good to experience how the locals live. However, if you're like me that's been to Ghana quite a few times, even though the last time I went was about 11 years ago, I know what Chotro life is like, and I know that ideally I don't want to travel around by Chotro. And why is that? Chotro life, basically, you have to wait at a bus stop that doesn't even exist because there's no signs to say wait here for the bus. You just see locals standing on the side of the road at any given destination. It doesn't matter where you are. And if you need a trotro and the trotro is driving past you, you just wave your hand and then they'll come and stop, and then you just get on. But when you get on this trotro, it's not a bus, it's like a minivan. So if you need to sit down, maybe like 5 people need to get off the bus before you're able to get on. It's too much, it's just not straightforward. Also, one thing in Ghana is that a lot of the cars in Ghana, now not all of them, because some cars I saw in Ghana were just amazing, but a lot of the cars in Ghana are very, very old, and especially the trotros, they are very old. Maybe some of them are 15 years old, 20 years old, older than that. And what this means is that the wear and tear on the inside and outside of these vans are noticeable. And if you're not careful, you could probably hurt yourself in a trotro, or you can damage your clothing from sitting in the trotro. Sometimes there's been instances where I've heard, people getting hurt due to exposed metal from the seats inside the trotro. So many different stories I've heard, and ideally, if you want comfort and if you want that kind of life that you're used to in the West, I suggest that you take Uber. And I suggest you shouldn't even take the local taxi. And the taxis are basically distinguishable by the yellow parts of the car. So you'll have a car that is like red, but then there's like panels of the car that's yellow, and that's how you know it's a taxi. The thing is, when taxi drivers know that you're from abroad and you're foreign, they will try and bump up the price because they know that they can get a quick pound or a quick dollar from you. And I don't like that. I understand that obviously everybody wants money, but I don't like that treatment. So Uber is more regulated, and Uber sets the price of the journey for you. Whereas if you take a taxi, the taxi driver is at large as to how much he wants to charge you, because it won't be little, it will be a lot more than he would charge the locals. With Uber, there's more regulation and there's more accountability on the driver's side and also on your side. Because obviously, as you know, with Uber, you can rate the driver and the driver can rate you. So, you know, you can see the driver, the name of the driver before he picks you up and that kind of thing. So it's more safe, I think, definitely. And yeah, it's more regulated. Ghana is known and considered to be relatively a very safe country. So I'm not worried about a taxi driver picking me up and taking me somewhere that I didn't intend to go to. But it's nice to know that you have that extra level of security, if you like, just in case. And like I've mentioned before, with the Uber, you have an app, so you know exactly where you are as long as you have your internet, and that is very important. If you don't want to take Uber in Ghana, because Uber does have its problems, like for example, the Uber drivers can see where you are on the map, but they won't come, and they will ask you, "Where are you?" I don't know why. They can see where you are, but they'll still ask you, "Where are you? Please, where are you?" And that's really annoying. Also, some Uber drivers in Ghana don't want to take card payments. Now, I'm accustomed to using card only for Uber, but in Ghana there's an option to pay the driver via cash, and the drivers in Ghana tend to like cash more because it's more liquid. They can use that cash whenever, to buy petrol then and there, or they can buy food then and there. Whereas if you pay them electronically, it will go to Uber headquarters and then Uber will pay them. So Uber's the intermediary for the driver, and they don't like that. They just want straight money quickly, because money goes fast in Ghana and you need that money, you need that capital. So I understand why they want the money up front, but I'm just used to paying by card. So just be aware that some drivers will not pick you up if you are going to pay by card. And also, there's been instances where I've gotten into a car and the driver has realized that I want to pay by card, and then they will just stop the journey then and there. Then I have to wait for another Uber, and that is very annoying. So be aware of that. So as I was saying, there's another option to traveling in Ghana, and one thing is to hire a car. Now, in my opinion, this is not feasible for long term, but maybe feasible for a short term period. Why do I say this? Because hiring a car in Ghana for me is expensive. You could be paying maybe £80 a day, maybe less sometimes, to hire a car and a driver in Ghana. Ideally, I would just like to hire the car and I would like to drive myself in Ghana. However, I'm not comfortable with driving in Ghana simply because the way people drive in Ghana is very different to the way people drive in the UK. On top of that, Ghana drives on the other side, whereas in the UK we drive on the other side. So that means that we, for example, drive on the left, I believe, and Ghana and the rest of the world, basically, some majority of countries drive on the right. And obviously, you need to be careful that you don't, when you approach a roundabout, you don't go the wrong way, because before you know it, you're head first into another person's car, and you don't want that. Also, I'm not really sure with how insurance works in Ghana. I think if something happens to the car and you're not covered, I don't really know, and I think that's another thing that you need to know and do some more research in if you want to drive in Ghana. Also, if you are from the UK like me and you go to Ghana and you're on foot and you're going from A to B, please be careful when you're crossing the road, because like I said, a lot of drivers, they don't really care. And also, if you're trying to cross a road and a car is coming from behind you, you need to look So when I go to Ghana, I want the lit life in Ghana. I want to know that I'm going to be enjoying myself. I'm not really somebody who likes to go out clubbing or partying. I'm the kind of person that likes to go out to eat in restaurants, likes to go to art galleries, that kind of thing. Yep, that is me. I like fashion. That is me. So when it comes to luxury living in Ghana, I think that at, at most it's very similar in terms of cost to the UK. Some things are a bit expensive and some things are even cheaper. So, for example, if you go to a restaurant, you might spend equivalent cost as you would in the UK. So, even though Nando's is not considered a luxury restaurant, in Ghana, something of similar caliber as Nando's would probably be considered luxury because not every day someone will be eating peri peri chicken in Ghana. Usually, the locals will be eating the local food, which is very nice, might I say. But something of Nando's would be very similar or slightly less cost in Ghana. But if we're talking about ultra luxury, like fine dining, then I think it's almost the same again to the UK. So, for example, I went to eat at this place called the Polo Club in Ghana, which is adjacent to the Polo Grounds in Ghana. Very nice, posh restaurant, and it was, I think, fairly expensive. It was basically the same prices as the UK, but like I said, if you convert that to it's very expensive in Ghana. And in Ghana, you can buy a meal for maybe £2, like a good meal. £2 being 18 Ghana cedis or less, even less than that. Like things in Ghana, if you want to go to a supermarket and buy almond milk, which is what I drink, almond milk in Ghana for one carton was about 17 new Ghana cedis. So if you convert that, that's like £2.50 off the top of my head, something like that, between £2 and £3, which is very expensive. In the UK, almond milk is expensive as well, but it's not £2. One for one carton, it's about £1, £1 20, £1 30, 40, or 50, depending on whether it's on offer or not. So a lot of these things that we're used to and take for granted in the Western world, a lot of these things are imported to Ghana. If you want that kind of thing in Ghana, and hence you're going to be paying a heftier price for these things. For example, I wanted berries. I'm used to eating strawberries sometimes. Sometimes I like my grapes. And in Ghana it's a lot more. Whereas in Ghana, the native fruits, if you like, in Ghana are the beautifulest pineapple, papaya, coconut, and those things are fairly cheap in Ghana because obviously they're grown there. But anything that isn't really grown in Ghana is, I think, considerably expensive. So in Ghana, I went to a restaurant with my mum called Coco Lounge, and I spent 209 new Ghana cedis. And if you convert it, that's like £30, so £36, something like that. That's expensive for Ghana. That's very expensive for Ghana. But for the UK, if you go to a restaurant, like a high level restaurant, you're gonna pay way more than that. Also in Ghana, I treated my mum to a massage and I also treated myself to a massage. We paid £24 each at this very nice place. It was, I would call, a luxury place in Ghana. Reason being is because it wasn't just like a random, no disrespect, but it wasn't a shop off the corner. It was like it's in its own compound. The interior design was beautiful. But in the UK, that massage would cost us each £60 for an hour. So in Ghana, that was worth the money. Also, I went to another restaurant called Urban Grill, which is actually a floor up from Coco Lounge. And these two restaurants are in a place called Stanbic Heights, which is a bank in Ghana. The bank is attached to a place called Icon House, and they have all these beautiful like restaurants. They have a shop called La Maison, which is like a home decor shop. They have homeware, they have lifestyle. It's just lifestyle. And yeah, so Urban Grill, again, I had like pancakes or one pancake, and I had like a juice for breakfast. It was nice, but I paid like 85 in Uganda cedis. So that is like, I can't remember, but I'll put it on the screen how much that is. I can't do quick maths right now. But yeah, it was around the same kind of price, a little bit more expensive than I would pay in the UK for the same thing, but it was nice. Just bear in mind that money in Ghana, if you want lifestyle, money in Ghana runs like water, just like internet. Internet and lifestyle can just run your pocket dry. So always have provisions with money when you come to Ghana. And if you want to stay in Ghana for long term, you want to stay for a lengthier period of time, make sure that your money is plenty, because that money will go. It will go. I made the mistake of only traveling with a couple of hundred, 300, 400 pounds, and I had to take more money out of my bank account in order to live, because I thought I'm the kind of person that likes to save money. And I thought, I know Ghana's expensive, but I'm not gonna pay so much. I'm not gonna live. I'm gonna have lifestyle in Ghana, but I'm not gonna have lifestyle. You get me? So I thought, okay, I'm trying to save money, so let me just take £100, but I had to take a lot more than that. So what I would suggest and what I would tell anyone is have money on tap. Use a card. Now I used a card because I don't like carrying cash. So have a balance. Have some cash at hand, but also carry a card to avoid having to carry wads of cash with you. So if you have any other tips, please leave them in the comments below. If you can please tell me the situation with the electricity and why my cables weren't working when I returned to England, please let me know so that I can avoid this mistake when I go the next time. Also, please note, Ghana is a very hot country. And I know that sounds obvious, but I was so silly. When I went, I was packing denim jackets, I was packing jeans, I was packing things that I could layer, and layering in Ghana doesn't work. So one thing I would suggest is you bring airy clothing. Even I would even consider, buying or sew some dresses. Now, if you're a woman, then you can get away with, wearing really loose fitting, airy house dresses, or like you can just get them sewn. And I think next time when I go to Ghana, I'm gonna get loads of dresses sewn that basically will just ventilate my whole body, because that place is hot. And AC is your best friend in Ghana.